Welcome back to Vespasian, episode 6.
Hell yeah. Looking forward to it.
Last episode 5, we were reading from the book of Tacitus, and where he's basically talking about what a horrible, horrible people the Jews are and how weird they are.
Weird, man. Yeah.
And we're going to continue with that in this episode because it's this good stuff that we didn't get to. We finished last time. He was talking about the Dead Sea.
Right.
And how it's salty and breeds pestilence.
Funky. Just funky. So,
funky.
Right.
Make it funky. And he goes on to say, at a certain season of the year, the lake throws up bitumen. And the method of collecting it has been taught by that experience which teaches all other arts. It is naturally a fluid of dark color. When vinegar is sprinkled upon it, it coagulates and floats upon the surface. Those whose business it is take it with the hand and draw it onto the deck of the boat. It then continues of itself to flow in and lade the vessel till the stream is cut off. Nor can this be done by any instrument of brass or iron. It shrinks from blood or any cloth stained by the menstrua of women.
Oh, wow.
Such is the account of old authors. But those who know the country say that the bitumen moves in heaving masses on the water, that it is drawn by hand to the shore, and that there, when dried by the evaporation of the earth and the power of the sun, it is cut into pieces with axes and wedges, just as timber or stone would be.
It becomes solid. So if anybody asks you what you do, you say, I'm a bitumen man. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
so,
cool. Right.
The Dead Sea was known in antiquity as the Asphalt Lake because of its bitumen.
Right.
Bitumen is natural asphalt, tar.
Right.
And it gets, I didn't know this.
Yeah.
It gets created naturally in the Dead Sea.
Had no idea.
Yeah. Me either. And Pliny, by the way, gives similar details about this. He's probably using Pliny as a source, or they have common sources.
Yeah.
By the way, these stories, I learned a new word, paradoxographical.
Wow. You've never used that before in a sentence?
Paradoxography,
right,
or paradoxographical,
right,
are stories about foreign places where there's weird animals or weird natural events that are paradoxes. We don't understand it, but to us it's crazy.
Crazy stuff.
But in these foreign lands, these things like phoenixes just
Yeah.
burn and then come back to life again. It's crazy.
It's nothing but a thing.
These are called paradoxographical stories.
Do you remember, and I can't remember which episode and I can't remember the topic, but we were talking about what the Romans would use to build stuff. And I think it was called tufa block, tufa rock, tufa something. And what it is they would cut it out of the side of a hill or whatever. And it almost had the consistency of cheese. But once you cut it out, you shape it into a brick or whatever shape, and you put it out in the sun, it dries, it becomes hard as a rock. And that's the first thing I thought of when we were, when I was looking at the bitumen. So again, it's their own version of it, but it's something that's to a degree malleable, all natural. And then when under the right conditions, you can shape it and it becomes firm, and then you can use it for, like we use it for roads, or the chemical version of it, I don't know, for roads, or you can use it for building material. Again, but these people have been doing this for thousands of years, and even though there doesn't seem to be a lot going on with the Dead Sea, here's this very vital substance that comes out, and they can use it for things. I just thought that was cool. You do the best you can with what you got.
Tufa reminds me, do you ever watch 30 Rock?
Oh, I love.
Remember Tufa?
I forgot that connection. Love that show. Oh, the most outrageous things were said. Anyway.
According to Jack, Alec Baldwin's character,
right,
his nickname is Tufa because with him you get a 2-for-1. He's a black guy and a Harvard guy, so he's a Tufa.
Love that show.
Yeah.
What would, if you wore a baseball cap, like that one guy. What would your baseball cap? He always had baseball caps with ridiculous sayings on the. Oh, anyway, I fucking love that
Frank.
show. Frank.
Yeah.
Love that show. Anyways, Sex Star.
So,
Go ahead.
Bitumen.
Bitumen.
So it really does throw up bitumen, and this was a big industry. Bitumen was used in the ancient world for caulking boats and all sorts of things like that.
Right.
And it was a big industry that you could just pull it off the water,
Mm-hmm.
and
That's amazing.
go and it's great. It's like oil, I guess, coming up over you. Just grab it and go and do shit with it.
Right.
The whole idea about it being coagulated by vinegar and scared of menstrual blood.
Yeah. How do you find out about
of-
that second one? You know what? Don't answer that.
Well,
Just move on.
Yeah, no, it's the first thing. The first thing I ever do
Is
I don't
you
know
ask
if
yourself,
wrote it, when I just
how would it react to menstrual blood? Huh? That's what I want to know. Get
Yeah.
the scientists in here
Yeah.
now. Where's my test tube?
yeah.
I don't know. But that someone
Yeah.
discovered that. Let's be honest, it was a. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the Dead Sea lies in the Jordan Rift Valley. It's this massive fault system,
Right.
runs down the Red Sea in East Africa, and it's full of deep geological fractures, and through them oil and bitumen rise up from the deep in the ground, these sedimentary layers of organic material
Right.
buried deep, like ancient lake and seabeds, lots of what do you call the stuff that the whales eat?
Algae?
Plankton
Plankton.
type
They come
stuff.
up from the
algae,
from
plankton.
the rips, and the yeah. There's a certain
Yeah.
word that you're
Yeah,
trying.
yeah.
I can't remember what it, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Vents almost or something.
Yeah. Heat and pressure have turned them into hydrocarbons over millions of years. And the Dead Sea is extremely saline.
Mhm.
So stuff rises.
Right.
And it means that the heavy bitumen, it's because it's quite heavy, obviously,
Right.
will usually sink. It'd usually be on the, as deep down as it can. But because of the heavy salinity,
Yeah. Not here, baby.
it rises up.
Yeah.
And people were able to just, grab it, whack it, steal it, sell it,
Don't put any blood on it,
whack it.
and you're good. Just
Yeah,
no,
just don't
no
bleed on it.
menses. No menses. Not here.
Yeah.
You ruin our business.
Keep the women
That's
away.
What time
I
of
think
the
the
month?
women were trying to
Go.
get in on the men's action, and they were
Go.
like, yeah. They were like, sorry, you can't be around here. It cries.
Not
if
today.
you're
Bleeder.
bleeding around
I
it.
can't believe I just said that.
Yeah.
Please continue.
She's a bleeder. He goes on, not far from this lake lies a plain,
Right.
once fertile, they say, and the site of great cities, but afterwards struck by lightning and consumed. Of this event, they declare, traces still remain, for the soil, which is scorched in appearance, has lost its productive power.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that grows spontaneously as well as what is planted by hand, either when the leaf or flower have been developed or after maturing in the usual form, becomes black and rotten and crumbles into a kind of dust.
It's cursed.
I am ready to allow, on the one hand, that cities once famous may have been consumed by fire from heaven, while on the other, I imagine that the earth is infected by the exhalations of the lake, and that the surrounding air is tainted, and that thus the growth of harvest and the fruits of autumn decay under the equally noxious influences of soil and climate.
Right. So it could be evil spirits, or it could just be fucking natural occurring events. He's open to either one, I think, is what he's saying.
Yeah, and that's interesting to see with Tacitus, right? He's
Yes.
always like,
yeah.
they say that it's this, but I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
applying a bit of logic and reason
You
here.
get
I
a
think
tone.
it's probably just
You get a tone
the
when
toxic lake.
yeah, he's like, yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
just some scientific shit that we don't get yet, but it's all bad juju. I get that. Yeah. Good for him.
I am ready to allow that cities can be destroyed by fire from the heavens,
Yeah.
but I think
But also
plants
not.
dying is probably because of the
All the shit.
air,
Yeah.
the quality of the air.
All the shit coming out of there. Yeah.
But again, the general tone here is he's describing this as a weird place with a lot of wacky shit going on and kind of nasty,
Yeah.
toxic.
Don't bring your family
horrible.
here. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Disneyland, this is not. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, have you ever been to Salt Lake City?
No, I'd love to go, but I've never been. I've always been fascinated. Have you?
Horrible, stinky.
Aw.
Yeah, stinky place.
Aw.
Very stinky.
Right.
Yeah.
I got
Toxic.
I got to take it on my bucket
And
list.
mostly because of the Mormons, but also because of the Salt Lake.
The Salt Lake ain't helping either, people. Yeah.
Yeah. They tell me that when you live there, you get used to it and you don't notice it, but it's very,
I don't want
very
to get
stinky, like a swamp.
Yeah, I don't want to get used to it.
Yeah. Smells like your balls.
Yeah. No comment.
So there's a lot of sulfur, like in Salt Lake City, a lot of sulfur and bitumen deposits
Right.
coming up out of and burning sulfur. It could be, there could have been the fires that he's talking about. Might have been lightning, might have also been burning sulfur and hydrocarbons that were escaping out of these rifts that had burnt. There is archaeological evidence of early Bronze Age cities in that region that look like they were destroyed suddenly by fire or earthquakes. Some scholars think that the stories of Sodom and Gomorrah might be linked to these sorts of phenomenons.
Right.
Phenomena.
Sure.
Something like a phenomenon. Something like a phenomenon.
I like that.
Something like a phenomenon. Something like a phenomenon. You know the track? LL Cool J, 1980. No, 2004, maybe. Something like a phenomenon.
I will take your word for it. Yeah. Yeah.
The sample for it was the bass line was who is he and what is he to you?
Ooh. Be careful,
God,
lady.
who wrote that originally?
Don't answer that question. So the point you were making earlier was that because of the stories or the legend or whatever the proper term is, no disrespect, of Sodom and Gomorrah, maybe there was great cities around that part of Judea that because these people are so base and so crass, the god, whatever gods, punish them by lightning, burn down the city, it falls over, and now there's the shit coming out of the ground that maybe used to be these great cities or whatever. So again, it's all just tied in. It's like, I've heard these things. I don't know if they're true, but maybe there were great cities here. But hey, there was also a Sodom once. There was also a Gomorrah once. So hey, who knows what the truth is? But the point is, he's putting it out there because I guess he's a historian going, it's my job just to report what I have heard.
Bill Withers.
I love Bill Withers. Sunshine when she is gone.
You know, who is he and what is he to you? Oh, classic. A man we passed just tried to stare me down. And when I looked at you, you looked at the ground.
Ooh.
Well, I don't know who he is, but I think that you do. Dadgummit. Who is he and what is he to you?
I like that.
Dun 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 dun. Something in my heart and in your eye tells me he's not someone just passing by.
Yeah.
When you cleared your throat, was that your cue? Dadgummit. Who is he and what is he to you? Ah, great song. Oh,
I'll have to check that out now. And from now on, I'm going to say, go ahead.
Michelle DiNegacello did a cover of it too,
right?
20, 30 years ago, which was really good. Check that out.
All right.
But then LL took the bass line,
right,
and turned it into something like a phenomenon.
Okay.
So we got there.
There's nothing new.
The River Belus,
yes,
Tacitus says, the River Belus also flows into the Jewish Sea. About its mouth is a kind of sand, which is collected, mixed with nitra, and fused into glass.
Oh, fuck.
This sure is of limited extent, but furnishes an inexhaustible supply to the exporter. A great part of Judea consists of scattered villages. They also have towns, Jerusalem as the capital. There stood a temple of immense wealth. First came the city with its fortifications, then the royal palace, then within the innermost defences the temple itself. Only the Jew might approach the gates. All but priests were forbidden to pass the threshold. While the east was under the sway of the Assyrians, the Medes, and the Persians, Jews were the most contemptible of the subject tribes.
Damn.
When the Macedonians became supreme, King Antiochus strove to destroy the national superstition and to introduce Greek civilization, but was prevented by his war with the Parthians from at all improving this vilest of nations.
But he had a plan. He had a plan.
For at this time, the revolt of Arsaces had taken place.
Mm-hmm.
The Macedonian power was now weak, while the Parthian had not yet reached its full strength, and as the Romans were still far off, the Jews chose kings for themselves. Expelled by the fickle populace and regaining their throne by force of arms, these princes, while they ventured on the wholesale banishment of their subjects, on the destruction of cities, on the murder of brothers, wives, and parents, and the other usual atrocities of despots, fostered the national superstition by appropriating the dignity of the priesthood as the support of their political power. Gnaeus Pompeius was the first of our...
Before you get to him, because I looked up like who did they choose as their kings? Because I don't know fuck all about early Jewish history. So and I'm sure
Maccabeans.
And you probably gathered this. There was the Hasmonean dynasty from 140 to 37. Hasmonean dynasty from 140 to 37 BCE, and there were instances of fratricide and political executions. But again, when Tacitus is talking about this, he's acting like no one else has ever done it. This is almost an accusation. See, these Jews are so bad. They kick out their kings. The kings come back and they kill so many other people. It's like it's like a civil war. Thank God Rome has never had to worry about a civil war. Anyways, and then there's the Herodian dynasty that came after that, 37 BCE to 70 CE, where of course Herod kills his wife, Marianne, and several of his sons. So he's bringing up these instances, but it's like, dude, this is not in a vacuum. Other empires have killed, there's been civil wars, they've had people banished and come back with a sword. This is not unique to the Jews, but it's almost like, and I don't want to go too far with this idea, but it's almost like the way he's presented is like, see, here's just more examples of how treacherous or base these people are. But again, I don't want to go too far with that.
Well, Herod was the last of the Hasmonean rulers, and the Hasmoneans came out of the Maccabees. The Maccabeans, the Maccabean revolt, where they pushed back against the Seleucid Empire. Came out of Seleucus, one of Alexander's generals, and that ruled the area for a while. But so there was a brief period, which is... I talked about this briefly in the documentary, but, out of all of Jewish history, even though they claim to have the most powerful of all the gods, they only had like a very brief period, about 100 years, 120 years, when they actually had their own independence.
Right. Politically
they were
independent. Yeah.
Oppressed and ruled by other nations for the vast majority of their history. So... if your God's that great, he's fucking letting you down. And so, and that's the great thing about Jews. Like, how do you reconcile those two ideas? On one hand, you say our God is the greatest God.
Yeah.
On the other,
the best.
And in fact, the only God.
The only.
Yeah. On the other hand, we're fucked. And we've been, he's not doing anything. So, either he's not that great or doesn't exist, or... maybe we just suck and he hates us.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care that much. He tries some. Remember that good 120 years? But other than that.
It's not that he doesn't care. It's that we're not worthy.
Oh.
We're not
we
good
suck
enough.
That hard. I gotcha.
We suck at being good worshippers.
Right.
That is the conclusion that they came to.
Gotcha.
Is, look, he is great.
He's awesome.
And if we were just more worthy,
Up our
he
game.
would.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all on us. He's been gaslighting us for 4,000 years.
He wants us to be better. We're failing him. We're failing him.
Yeah.
So come on, people. Let's run.
I want to make you rulers of the whole planet, but honestly, every time I look at you, I'm like, do you want it? That's the question.
How bad do you want it?
Do you want to be successful?
Yeah. You don't want it, and you don't want it, and apparently you don't want it.
Are you willing? Are you willing to cut the tip off? Oh, no, you're already doing that. Okay.
That's a good start.
It's not enough.
That's a good start.
Honestly,
yeah, it's not enough.
When we started this thing, I thought that would be all that I would need from you, but
it's been 2,000 years.
Like, it was impressive.
Show me,
it was just
show me something else. Show me something.
It was impressive at first. Then after a while, I'm like, look, it's another.
I hear the babies cry.
Dick with no hood. Like,
it's too much.
Yeah.
Show me something new. Show me something new. But don't wipe out the Palestinians. That's not what I'm talking about.
What the fuck is up with that? You know that they worship me as well, right?
Yeah.
They are also my people.
Yeah. So
I don't think you understand.
That's not the route I want you to go down.
Works.
Exactly.
No.
Religion's so hard. Faith is so hard. It's so hard.
I thought that when I let you go through a genocide, if it taught you anything,
right,
it would be that
genocide
is bad.
Okay,
but apparently
you learned how to.
You missed.
Yeah, you missed the lesson.
You missed that part of the memo. The most important part of the memo was that it's a bad thing to do, not
right.
Oh, that's something we should get good at.
Yeah.
It was wrong lesson to take.
Yeah. Right. Go ahead.
Honestly, because I'm all powerful and all knowing, I did see the possibility that you might become genocidal. But honestly, I thought it might take 1,000 years.
Who
like
knew?
70 years.
Who knew?
I didn't think in under a century, in 2 generations, you'd go from the genocided
to
the genociders. Even me, in all my wisdom and power, never really saw that coming.
You wowed me.
Yeah.
On a very, very, very barely related, I got to be careful with this. Kiki and her boyfriend went to D.C. yesterday to see a baseball game. And as you know, Trump has deployed the troops or whatever, the National Guard or whatever the hell it is. So they're walking around D.C. And these are two, I cannot stress this enough, pale white children. Obviously they're not there to hurt anybody. So they're walking around and they're seeing guys with guns, and it's kind of creepy, and there's a curfew. And so there's very few people on the streets. When they were going to the metro station, and 2 young black men on Segways, is that how you say? I don't know, the little things that you ride on. They rode by the cops because they were on the sidewalk, and one cop immediately slapped his hand on his gun. And Kiki was like, God damn, that guy's going to die just for driving by a cop. So the whole thing is fucked up. She said it's like out of some post-apocalyptic film where it's just like a ghost town, but it's this massive town and there's no one there and there's guys with guns. So anyways, the world's a fucked up place right now, and we all need to get good with God because this is fucked up. And that's the end of my story. But she said it creeped her out.
Wow.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I did a podcast with Markham last week. I don't know if you
I
saw that in the news.
The highlights? Yeah.
He said, we ended up talking about Trump as we always do. He goes, tanks in Washington, D.C. Who could have seen that coming? And I was like, me. I saw that coming. I've been telling you for 20 years that was coming.
Well,
and you told me I was crazy, but...
we might as well go down this rabbit hole. Now Trump is worried about getting into heaven. I think he's right to be concerned about getting...
No.
I didn't see the whole... I didn't hear the phone call, whatever, with Fox and Friends. But clearly that's something that's on his mind lately. And I don't know. He needs to get right with God.
I've been talking to some Christians about that on Facebook. They're like, he's not very Christian. I'm like, motherfucker, I just covered the first crusade. Do you know some of the shit the Christians pull?
Cannibalism, people. Cannibalism.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, we should probably get...
Anyway. Tacitus says...
Yes, please.
Cnaeus Pompeius was the first of our countrymen to subdue the Jews, availing himself of the right of conquest. He entered the temple.
Yes.
Thus it became commonly known that the place stood empty, with no similitude of gods within, and that the shrine had nothing to reveal.
Yeah.
The walls of Jerusalem were destroyed, the temple was left standing. After these provinces had fallen in the course of our civil wars into the hands of Marcus Antonius, Pacorus, king of the Parthians, seized Judea. He was slain by Publius Ventidius, and the Parthians were driven back over the Euphrates.
Right.
Caius Sosius reduced the Jews to subjection. The royal power which had been bestowed by Antony on Herod was augmented by the victorious Augustus.
Mm-hmm.
On Herod's death, one Simon, without waiting for the approbation of the emperor, usurped the title of king. He was punished by Quintilius Varus, then governor of Syria, and the nation, with its liberties curtailed, was divided into 3 provinces under the sons of Herod. Under Tiberius, all was quiet. When the Jews, although I seem to recall Tiberius expelling all of the Jews from Rome, I did bring that up with Mark Hayden on the episode a couple of episodes ago.
Right.
Remember, we could never figure out why. There was something about women having sex with someone, or someone having sex with Jewish women.
Well,
there was something going on.
Well, from what I remember, when the deputations from the east would come, they were dressed in all their finery, and the Roman women just found them so exotic and so different. The thing that the fad, if I remember correctly, was to see how many of these Eastern guys you could nail, and so a lot of the senators were getting mad that their wives were spreading their holy of holies to these guys. I remember that being a part of it, and we were just like, yeah, you got to keep your women in check, people. I mean, I do, but not everybody can be me.
A Roman noblewoman, according to Tacitus in a different section,
right.
He says a Roman noblewoman, Fulvia, converted to Judaism.
Oh shit! No, don't do that.
And certain Jewish teachers asked her to donate her wealth to the temple, and then they kept it for themselves. And her husband complained to Tiberius, and the emperor,
you got to go. You got to go.
Said you got to go.
I don't know if we've covered
4,000 young Jewish men were conscripted and shipped off to Sardinia to fight bandits.
Right. I don't know if we covered this, but when Quintilius Varus had to go in and kick ass again and subdue Judea, he crucified 2,000 Jews. So again, he was just, they're like you said in the previous show, as long as you behave yourself, pay your taxes, and don't give a shit, we don't care. But obviously the Jewish people, rightfully so, were upset with Pompey the Great for going into the sacred place that he wasn't supposed to go. The fact that he didn't take any money is irrelevant. He violated their religion, so that's one of the reasons they are getting pissy. And they rise up.
But when the Jews were ordered by Caligula to set up his statue in the temple, they preferred the alternative of war.
Yeah.
The death of the emperor put an end to the disturbance. The kings were either dead or reduced to insignificance when Claudius entrusted the province of Judea to the Roman knights or to his own freedmen, one of whom, Antonius Felix, indulging in every kind of barbarity and lust, exercised the power of a king in the spirit of a slave. Yeah. He had married Drusilla, the granddaughter of Antony and Cleopatra, and so was the grandson-in-law, as Claudius was the grandson of Antony. Yet the endurance of the Jews lasted till Gessius Florus was procurator.
Right.
In his time, the war broke out. Gestius Gallus, legate of Syria, who attempted to crush it, had to fight several battles, generally with ill success. Cestius dying, either in the course of nature or from vexation, Vespasian was sent by Nero, and by help of his good fortune, his high reputation, and his excellent subordinates, succeeded within the space of 2 summers in occupying with his victorious army the whole of the level country and all the cities except Jerusalem. The The following year had been wholly taken up with civil strife and had passed, and as far as the Jews were concerned, in inaction. Peace having been established in Italy, foreign affairs were once more remembered. Our indignation was heightened by the circumstance that the Jews alone had not submitted.
Right.
And at the same time, it was held to be more expedient, in reference to the possible results and contingencies of the new reign, that Titus should remain with the army. Accordingly, he pitched his camp, as I have related, before the walls of Jerusalem, and displayed his legions in order of battle.
And he's loaded with he's loaded for bear, like you were saying at the beginning of the first episode. He's brought a lot of forces with him. This is the one remaining holdout. Yeah, they've got walls, but this kid knows what he's doing. So we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Now, that's the end of the Tacitus section on the history of the Jews and Rome and the Jews. And look, we love Tacitus. I love Tacitus. We know that Tacitus isn't a capital H historian from a modern perspective.
Mm-hmm.
He's telling stories. He's trying to be as neutral and accurate as possible often, but he's also not beyond making fun of women or barbarians.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think of Tacitus as the New York Times.
Right.
Like, in some cases, he tries to be balanced and neutral. In other cases, he's absolutely biased and pushing an agenda and a line, right?
Yeah.
There's no consistency with Tacitus. He's always fun to read, but
Yeah.
you shouldn't take everything he says literally. There's bits and pieces of nonsense mixed in with bits and pieces of good research and logic and reason.
Do you think it would be?
But
go ahead. Sorry. Do you think it would be fair to say that what we just read of Tacitus is probably the best we could get as far as fair and balanced for someone who lives at that time, lives in the place that he does, and has the points of view that he has? Because it could have been a lot. It could have been so much worse. It could have been so much more skewed. And that, like, you're right, there are moments where he's like, okay, this, when it comes to not exposing newborns to death, I mean, he doesn't come out and say it, but it's like, it's, that's something that's semi-respectable. So again, I think this is probably the best we could get, at least of surviving documents from that time period.
Yeah, I imagine that if we had other sources from this period, there might be more balanced, more neutral writing. We don't know. But,
Right.
Very little has survived from the first century, early second century. As we know, Tacitus is the best that we've got. Certainly better than Suetonius or
Right.
any other contemporary writer. Not, Cicero was dead, obviously, had been dead for 100 years at this juncture,
Mm-hmm.
give or take. He did write a little bit about the Jews briefly in passing, when he's talking about Flaccus, but he didn't have much to say. But, if you had someone like Cicero around, he might have been more neutral.
Right.
But even Cicero didn't like barbarians, as we know. So
Yeah. He's a good Roman.
or the poor,
yeah.
or the working classes.
Hate the poor. Oh, sorry.
But we can see what Tacitus is doing in this whole section. He's kind of setting up a justification for what the Flavians were doing to the Jews, because he's writing during the period of the Flavians, or just after the Flavians. He's sort of positioning them as...
They had to.
Yeah, they had to.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had to. But for any good Roman, whether you're a Flavian employee or not, this just made total sense. It's it's like Americans self-justifying any one of your numerous invasions or wars. Well, we just had to. They were just weird, bad.
Oh,
We're
doing the world a favor. Yeah.
Look, they had dark skin and they wore funny things on their heads.
Right. Do you need anything else?
We had to go and take them out.
Yeah. Unchristian.
They weren't like us.
Right.
So we had to go and kill them.
Exactly.
And their interests
Right.
were not aligned with our interests.
Yeah.
Is basically what he's saying, right?
Yeah.
Now, in terms of the whole history that we've covered in the last couple of episodes, his history of the Jews, archaeologists have pieced together a different story. You know, so he talks about them coming out of Egypt or coming out of Crete.
Right.
Abraham, you know, both in the Old Testament version and from what historians have been able to piece together based on what archaeological evidence there is, they probably came out of Iraq originally. Ur, the city of Ur is where they probably came from.
Right.
Then went to Syria, and then Abraham made his way to Canaan and then fought with the Canaanites.
Mm-hmm.
Then they did go to end up in Egypt. They were enslaved in Egypt, some of them, and then under Moses, were liberated and
Right.
went back to the lands of Canaan. Although there is no archaeological evidence of the Exodus.
Oh, wow.
Despite it being a big deal in Jewish tradition, no archaeological record of any of that. So whether or not that really happened at all or is just a mythology that was built up is really hard to pin down.
Right.
Then you get the united monarchy of Israel and Judah, the building of the temple in Jerusalem. Then in 586 BCE, Babylon destroys Jerusalem, burns the temple, drags the elite off into exile in Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting about that historically, you know, they were just one of many, many people that were crushed by enemies.
Mm-hmm.
What makes the Jews unique is that they survive it. Most ancient peoples that got conquered by an empire got swallowed up by that empire and became part of that empire and don't get to reestablish their national identity again. The interesting thing with the Jews is they're survivors.
Do you think
they did come back?
Do you think their religion was a part of that? To give them that very unique identity. I don't know. I did not know that, because you're right. Most people, once they're busted up, that's it. Real life takes over, and you don't go around trying to get the band back together. You're just trying to survive. But they do survive this.
They do, and I think the things that the Jews always had going for them is the books.
Mm-hmm.
I think books, particularly in the ancient world, having a religion of a book,
right,
built around a book, is very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Because
tangible.
You can wipe out
yeah.
entire generations of religious leadership. But if there's a book that survives, you don't burn all the books.
Your centerpiece, yeah.
That can be passed on to successive generations who can take it and rebuild based on the stories in the books.
Right.
It's also one of the reasons why Christianity survived the first few hundred years until Constantine legalized it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I think, the uniqueness of Judaism in its sort of various forms after the syncretization of ideas out of Egypt and Babylon gave it some sort of, and the book, that sort of codified that uniqueness and the whole practice of marrying within their community and the purity of the bloodline, at least until they went into exile in Europe and then started fucking the Europeans. And
right.
It became sort of a European Judaism, Ashkenazi and all that kind of stuff emerged.
Mm-hmm.
But a couple of those things played into their favor, so they were able to survive. And then it was just luck. I mean, when Cyrus of Persia conquered Babylon, for whatever reason, he allowed them to return.
Mm.
They were sent to Babylon in 586. Like 50 years later, 538, he conquers Babylon. And for whatever reason, he was just having a good day. It's like, yeah, fuck it. You can go. You can go.
Whatever.
Just don't go now before I change my mind. You can go. and helped them rebuild the temple and the
Right.
whole thing. So, of
Yeah.
course, then Titus comes along and burns down the second temple. But
Right. Spoilers.
yeah, the fact that they survived is the historically interesting component of this. It's like Christianity surviving. This is, I talked about this in the documentary.
Good point.
Like it's important because somehow, despite the odds,
Yeah.
they survived. They made it. And in both cases, they had a book. I think the book is the important thing. Like most of the mystery religions didn't have books.
Mm-hmm.
Your Mithraeans, your cults of Osiris and Isis and Dionysus and Bacchus and
Right.
all the other
A record.
Greco-Roman religions,
Mm-hmm.
to the best of our knowledge, didn't have books. The Stoics and the Epicureans had writings, and the Platonists had writings, Socrates, those schools of philosophy and thought. We still have, luckily, Lucretius on the nature of things, like one of the great texts of Epicureanism.
Mm-hmm.
One copy of it survived, thanks to Poggio Bracciolini finding it in the early parts of the Renaissance. I think it was Poggio.
Yeah.
But most of those other religions were mystery religions, and the whole point of a mystery religion was it was like Fight Club. You didn't talk about it outside of your secret little cult meetings because it was supposed to be a secret.
Right. So the fact that it didn't succeed, not surprising.
Well, the fact that it could get wiped out
Right.
relatively easy.
Yeah.
The Judaism and Christianity, I think, largely survived because they wrote stuff down,
Mm-hmm.
which, in retrospect makes sense, but in the day, wasn't
Right.
normal. It was,
Long odds. Long odds.
yeah. So, okay, where do I finish with this? I wanted to talk about Tacitus's sources. So he gave us this one version of events.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave us various different stories and versions that he'd heard.
Right.
Leprosy, perversity, resentment. He may not have known about the Babylonian exile or the Persian restoration. He had access to other sources like Josephus, writing in Rome around about the same period, but he's not pulling from Josephus. His sources are hostile sources.
Right.
There was a guy called Manetho, an Egyptian priest from the 3rd century BCE, who said that the Jews were lepers cast out of Egypt. So he's using Manetho or somebody else who was basing their history on Manetho.
Mm-hmm.
It was sort of the standard anti-Jewish myth by Tacitus's time.
Right.
But not everyone in the Greco-Roman world saw it that way. Strabo, the Greek geographer, saw Moses as a wise lawgiver who gave the Jews a rational religion that had no physical representation of their God. Hecatius of Abdera wrote that they founded Jerusalem under Moses.
Mm.
So there were more positive versions of Judaism existing in those times. We know that Julius Caesar and Augustus were relatively tolerant of the Jews and didn't really have a hugely negative view of Judaism or the Jews.
Right.
They were sort of, whatever, keep your nose clean,
Right.
stick to your knitting, don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
But Tacitus is wrapping the story up in this sort of Egyptian polemic and Roman ethnography. He paints the Jews as against everything that Rome stands for.
Right. Which is why.
They scorn the customs, they scorn the gods, they won't honor the emperors. They're, up themselves, and that makes them dangerous. So, in his view, the siege of Jerusalem under Titus isn't just a military operation to crush an oppression.
Yeah.
It's Rome cracking down on a people that are diseased and disgusting and horrible and dirty and the antithesis of everything that a good Roman would scorn and hate.
Right. We're saving Rome.
So
Rome's
it's
purity.
polemical.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's fucking wrap that up with a little bow and ribbon. That's the first page of Tacitus.
There we
2 hours to talk about that. Next time we'll get into Titus crushing the Jews.
Right.
Good little bit of argy-bargy.